My presentation is about understanding poverty in UK, the definition of poverty, trends, and measurement. Poverty refers to poor resources and limited standard of living. It influences health and education and living and engagement. The curve 2022, that's the reference. Poverty entails revenue, expenditures, and services reach. Fox 2020 is references in 2020. It conditions inequality and life opportunities in the long run. The knowledge of poverty helps in making informed decisions that are fairly made. We are going to talk about absolute poverty. There was an established minimum standard of basic limit, frequently changed due to inflation to maintain the value constant. Hussein references in 2019. Applicable in monitoring extreme sovereign and human necessities. Absolute poverty clarified to compare the process over years. Kenworth and Matt references in 2018. Limit can be out of social participation and expectations. That's about the absolute poverty. Relative poverty. Poverty in terms of normal living standards. Relative poverty says in many cases it is associated with thresholds close to the median income. Lucas and Kalinske 2020. Prisons inequality and social participation. Relative poverty says exposes the losers in the wealthier world. It exposes the losers in the wealthier world. And it says limit. The limit is release on the threshold. And the median movement, middles and etc. 2025. So we're comparing absolute and relative poverty. Absolute is concerned with the fulfillment of the basic needs, while relative is concerned with inequality and the living standard. The curve 2022. Measures may proceed differently, simultaneously. Headline and priorities are subject to the definition choice. Combining them provide a more detailed view of poverty. Fox references in 2020. Absolute poverty says when people do not have enough money or resources to meet their basic human needs, such as lack of food and water and shelter. That is a absolute poverty. For the relative poverty, when people don't have enough money or resources to live up to the normal standards in a society, often defined as living below the median income. So that is the comparing absolute and relative poverty. The source from this is Revised Sociology. So here is how poverty has changed in Britain. The extreme hardship was decreased by post-war welfare expansion. Ozane referenced this in 2019. The process of the industrialization transformed workforce and geographical economics. Low income was stressed more by housing costs. Some households were made less adequate due to austerity periods. Kenworth and Max referenced this in 2018. The picture shows the adequate income, or better, the be able is to afford the people that are be able to afford the standard of living. There's some people that are in adequate income but not in poverty. They are under pressure. Some people are in poverty but due to not be able to, they struggle to meet the need, like payments, or they struggle to pay the rent, or they struggle to give their children the proper food or what the children need at home. The key factors shaping the poverty pattern. Here it says, in job poverty akin to poor wages and uncertain working hours. Disposable income is decreased due to high rent, and particularly in urban areas. The cost of childcare restricts the working time and preferences of parents. Lucas and Kalinowski 2020 references. Health and disability add expenses and cut profit. Meadows, etc. references in 2024. The opportunity and access to services is shaped by regional inequality. You can see the graphic here shows from 2019 to 2022. Pensioner and the working age. The blue line represents the pensioner and the green one represents the working age. So it's from 0% rising to 18% and above in 2021, which is lowest textile, middle textile, and highest textile. The key factors shaping recent poverty pattern. The source for this is from the Institute of Fiscal Studies. There are methods of measuring poverty. Here, before and after housing expenses, income measures, relative and absolute income from the cutoffs, the curve 2022 references, material deprivation, the absence of necessities and actions, persistent poverty, poverty based on a number of years. So from Fox 2020, and the multi-dimensional perspectives, the multi-dimension perspective, abilities and lower standards. Here we can see different approach indication. Woman Development Index. We see income-based approach. One, income-based approach, Woman Development Index, multi-dimensional poverty index, and the gender responsive poverty measure. Those are the method of measuring poverty. The source is from the Faster Capital. The critical analysis of measuring methods. Multidimensional measures are more enriched and more difficult to make comparisons. Yes. Income is easy but may overlook debt and insecurity. Housing cost is better capable of reflecting in the actual living standard. Deprivation reverts to lived poverty that goes beyond money. Ozen 2019 reference is the reference here. Long-term disadvantage in marked by persistent poverty by Kenwood and Marx in 2018. You can see here again the multidimensional measures are more enriched and more difficult to make comparisons. It shows here in this graphic poverty rate from 0 to 40%. We can see millions of people from 0 to 16 million people. We can see the from 5 to 10 to 75 plus. The green line shows the number in poverty. We can see the yellow line shows the poverty rate. The poverty rate. Critical analysis of measurement. That is the critical analysis of measurement methods. The source is UK Data Services. In conclusion, meaning of poverty is transformed into practice. Trend mirror the wages, benefit and housing and prices. Poverty stories are created through different measures. Making several measures help to make more powerful decisions. You can see the picture of the children here living in poverty. The source of references and images mentioned here. So we can see the references is from the curve in 2022, absolute and relative poverty measure, development research. So those are the references here, folks. Supplemental poverty measure. That is my time is up now, so you can see all the references here. That is the end of the presentation here for today.